YouTube, it's Brian Phillips. Look at this thing. It's the Pitts 1.4 meter from FMS. It's huge, beautiful, and works really well. So if you're looking for a biplane, this is something to consider seriously. We're flying ours today on 5000 6S. It does come equipped with the Reflex V2, and you may remember we reviewed this a while back, but we did AS3X and safe, so check that out if you're curious. All right, so throttle cuts off. We're gonna try to get ourselves back for the shadow. Right there. Woo! A little janky. On takeoff, lots of rudder trim needed. Let's see if we can straighten that out. Oh man, that thing's got presence in the air. Very touchy on the elevator right now. I feel like that's just the way Pitts fly though, if you see what just happened there. Or if you see what's gonna happen here. Goodness gracious, look at that thing. It just does whatever you want. That is so crazy. Inside out loops, it just doesn't care. And then auto leveling. Let's see how it does. Oh yeah! Okay, out of the auto leveling and just coming back. Sorry, it's a little spec for you guys. I was just getting a little crazy and aggressive on the 3D stuff. Aerobatics. It's about 50% cruise speed. Now remember, we have a little bit heavier battery, what they call for. Whoa, whoa. Need to set some higher expo. So I'm gonna do that now. Oh, that is so cool. Man, look at that thing. It just wants to fly upside down. Yeah, the extra expo and lower rates on the elevator have helped calm it down significantly. So I can do that. Oh, yes. So folks, if you've never experienced the Pitts, it is a gorgeous, great flying plane. Now with Reflex, it's definitely a little bit cheaper to get that thing in the air because you don't have to add the AS3X and safe. But I gotta say, the one I've got set up with AS3X and safe is pretty stinking glorious. Way up, way around. And down, there we go. Even on 6S, I am riding the stick, but that's mostly because I'm doing aggressive maneuvering and I don't want to lose this thing. I'm gonna give a couple clicks to elevator there, just so it doesn't droop the nose. Just trying to get it all leveled out. Still wants to kind of fall down just a hair. I think we're still riding just a touch nose heavy, but the expo adjustment has been good on touchiness. And yes, the stabilizer does work, but I must say I'd like to be able to crank it up a little bit more. And I think this plane is so big, you might even want to set it for an offsetting. We usually don't do that because we like to use our gear switch, which is where we do it if there's not retracts involved. Now on this model, we did try to set this thing up so that we could fly it on a Spectrum satellite receiver, and we just could not get it working. And I don't know if we did something wrong, but if you check out the Unbox Build radio setup, you can kind of see what we did and what we potentially did wrong, and maybe give us a hand. Okay, full throttle, and just out of that upside down flight performance and right down the driveway for a pass. Woo-wee! So when they get bigger like this and you get close to the ground, don't be afraid to eat your pride and just jank it, folks. Easy to do the knife edge. I just can't quite get it right today. I think I got a little bit of a vector in the wind that's complicating things. Camera crew, would you come back about 4 steps? Stop right there, thank you. Perfect. By the way, the rudder is super effective. Elevator is super effective. There's a turkey vulture. That's awesome. That's a big bird, by the way. But what I was gonna suggest is if you consider, rather than doing expo, you could probably get away with, instead of going to the second hole from the outside on the elevator and rudder, or excuse me, the rudder's in, one more, is it?
They were both originally the second hole from the outside.
You could actually put them in the second hole from the inside, and you'd have plenty of elevator throw. Now that is if you're flying on a 5000 6S, you're gonna be a little heavier than stock. They want you to fly on 4000. I got wind right when I was getting down to that vulnerable spot. I said, screw it, I'm just gonna jank it. So if you guys are thinking, if you're thinking you wanna fly this thing, it's not a terribly difficult to fly plane. I'm gonna go straight overhead for that beautiful view and back down. Same direction we came from there, cam crew. There's our 5-minute timer, but we'll actually get closer to 8 or 9 minutes on this thing. We do have a voltage alarm in there just to kind of keep us appraised of the situation we're dealing with. And I know some of you guys are thinking, why are you just running circuits with a pitch? You should be doing crazy balls to the walls maneuvers. Well, not everybody wants to do that. So we want to show it can do just the basics as well. And I gotta say, it does ride a little bit nose heavy, and we have that battery about 1 inch out of the tray. We used a simple China screwdriver, and that China screwdriver is basically out of one of our, you know, like XK planes or whatever. We got like plethora of those little helis and things that we've done over the years. And that is what we use to double ensure that our battery won't slip forward if the clips break, because evidently that has been a bit of an issue. And ironically enough, we had somebody over and they were warning me about that because I had nothing in my first one. And then the thing broke on that flight right before we laid it down to take off. The battery popped out. And I'm like, what are you talking about? And it slipped back the whole tray. So I grabbed a screwdriver and janked it right in. And I think Air Marshal from YouTube, shout out to you, is who told the guy that was with me about that potential complication. I'm sure there's many others that have run into it, but we just want to give a shout out. I don't know if Air Marshal did initially tell him that. If I'm mistaken, I apologize, folks. I love being able to flip this thing upside down. I'm just gliding upside down, full up elevator though. Then give a little throttle and get it flying again, guys. Remember, if you're doing craziness, you got to give yourself a few mistakes high. And then a big loop. Lots of power, pulls you right through the air. I almost feel like, and oh, and by the way, this is a 50C Gen 1 pack. Let's try stall turn here. Oh, beautiful. Definitely not flawlessly executed, but I gotta say, this thing really does what it says it's gonna do. And that is look like a real biplane. Up and over, down the runway, if we can get it. Gorgeous, folks. If you're in the market, check the links in the video description below. Best way you can support Brian Phillips RC is by the delectable, delightful planes that we review. From the links in the video description, that earns us small commissions from the manufacturers, merchants, hobby companies, or mom pop shops, whoever we happen to be working with on a particular video. And that's also what basically primarily funds this channel. A little bit of ad revenue comes in, and then most of it comes from sales of these wonderful planes, which also helps the ecosystem of the RC environment, as far as I can tell. Just checking for manned aircraft over there. I can't tell where it is. It's way up there, I think. We got the clouds there, so he could be below the ceiling, but I kind of doubt it. They come through here. We're in Class G airspace, so haven't had a lot of problems with planes except for crop dusters. And then once in a while, we'll have an outlier that just comes through at like 1,500 feet for no apparent reason. Yeah. Those ones are the ones that are kind of scary because you're only going to be, you know, like 1,000 feet away. Yeah, 1,000 feet, guys. You're only going to be 1,000 feet away. What is the problem there? It's going to look like you're 3 miles away in a real plane. Okay, there we go. So our timer did go off. I'm just kind of riding it, being gentle. I think we're going to try to take a landing from the direction we were just going. So I'm going to go with the wind. It's very gentle. You want to trade sides? Perfect, right there. Going up and over the tree line. We're just going to relax into the flight. Really get that thing slowed down. Going to let it really take its time. We're going to take this hole. We're going to let it slow down and trade off some altitude. I want to trade and then see what we got for airspeed. Okay. Yeah, a little bit of wind from our tail on that pass. Okay, cam crew, you just keep doing your thing.
Okay.
I don't know if I like that line. Just it didn't feel right. I'm gonna have to jank it. I have to jank it, try to do a little bit of slippage. This plane does, in the heavier configuration like what we're doing now, it does definitely take up some airspace for landings because we don't have any flaperon set up. Okay, I'm gonna follow the tree line and just, see the problem is I can't jank it down in time, so I gotta really, really ride the envelope here and then stall it onto the runway. We'll do a nice three-wheel landing. Now you can put it on the mains and it does pretty good. Oh, and by the way, let's just show this real quick. Full up elevator. Let's go ahead and get up here where the grass is maybe a little bit smoother. And then we'll do a little grass ops just to show you it can be done. We got wind from our right shoulder. Here we go. Get that thing up. Absolutely no problem. And then up and over. And let's show you landing kind of the same direction. You can see the wind is sort of confused how that windsock is changing directions. Let's see if we can shoot a final here. A little bit of slip in that turn. It looks ugly, but you'll bleed off a bunch. Ooh, there's some wind. Got lots of wind right at this vector, guys, right there. That's the vector we're dealing with. So I'm gonna get over here. We'll kind of get her 50% throttle and just relax into flight. Checking for manned aircraft again. I think we're good. They're way over our right. We're gonna bring it down. We're just gonna bring it in, do our base leg at the last possible second without losing too much airspeed. The thing that's nice about this plane will fly in pretty much any attitude because of its purpose. Oh, dang. I was trying to do grass ops for you and about got bounced off course onto the driveway. Excuse me, runway. So we're gonna try that again and we're just gonna get it right. About 30%, 40% throttle here. See how well it slows down, folks. Problem is it slows down well, but then it lands heavy. So just be aware that you don't get bit. Oh! Oh, I don't want to take out that stupid anti-UPS ditch diver. Did you see what I was doing there?
Yeah.
I don't know if you could see that, but we were really close to that thing. Okay. Just getting in a position where I got a little bit of airspeed I can trade for altitude, but I gotta make the bend just so. There we go. Okay. Woo! Guys, if you don't like it, just take it around. Unless, of course, your battery's dead, then you can't. So, folks, if you're new to the hobby and you're just trying to figure out why the heck is it taking you so many times to land, well, when you get the vector of wind just so, it can be kind of tricky. And without flaps, you're at the mercy of how long it takes to slow down. You can use a little bit of slip like that. You can bleed off some of your lift by different mechanisms, but you can see how fast I'm wanting to carry. So I think we're gonna do grass ops like I originally planned. Now also with a more nose heavy plane, and this one is slightly more nose heavy the way we're running it, you're gonna probably find that it wants to carry. And I am kind of going with the wind again. Oops.
You're beeping.
Voltage alarm. I'll have to be preservative. Careful. I got enough to go around, as in go around up here, because this is where we needed to final from. But that's definitely low voltage. So we'll talk about times here in a minute. So the vector would be perfect for this low point here if I can get the maneuver just right. I'm gonna, woo! Oh, that was close, guys. You guys don't realize how close that really was. There it is. Woo! Oh, that was a terrible landing. And yet we're out of juice. Oh, but we did go 8 minutes 41, 42 past 5. So just 12 and a half minutes of flight time on one pack. That's why we go with the 5000 6S 50C. And that is a Gen 1. Woo! Gen 1. So we really like this plane. A couple things I'm not crazy about. I feel like you could easily go in one more hole on both the rudder and the elevator, and you're gonna have plenty. See, I'm in my top expo, the most expo setting here, and I'll show you what we did on this one. It's a little bit different than what we normally do. Just for the ailerons, we're the same. Elevator, a little bit more, and rudder, a little, just the normal. So really, at the end of the day, you could kick a little bit more expo in there. I put it back to my middle setting, And probably what I'm gonna do on this plane is I'm probably gonna go ahead and move those holes in, and then we'll just refly it again and see how it does. I did feel like the AS3X and Safe locked it in rock solid. And you might find that spending the extra couple bucks to get into a 631, they're not that much more, is gonna give you a slightly better flight experience on this, because then you can set up, you know, a knob to actually adjust your gains mid-flight. Now that being said, I don't want you guys to think like the reflex didn't work. It definitely does help. And also admittedly, we're flying on a bigger pack than would normally be recommended. And we do that on purpose because we know the 5006S is way more popular size. 4006S is also popular size, but admittedly we've had the most problems with the 4006S of all the sizes. I have no clue why. And when I say problems, I mean, we have had more want to puff on us than any of the packs we use. And I think it's just because the type of plane, we're kind of like between the 1.2 size and the 1.5 up in the 2 meter size. You get that weird size where you're really trying to push the power envelope to get the planes to be speedy and easy to fly and have enough power to get out of the hole. And so you end up punching it a lot more. Also, I know for a fact that one of the first times you use a 4006S was in the 80 millimeter F-18 from E-Flight, and that was a battery chewer galore. So you put a brand new one in there and it'll puff it. So you want to get as big a pack as you can in that 80 millimeter F-18 if you find yourself getting it. And also beautiful landing gear, by the way. But on this plane, couple other complaints. One, rock hard tires, very little splaying on the landing gear. You think it would when you put it together, you're like, ooh, that looks like it'll move. Not really. It's mostly just going to be like crash absorption. And you could see that on a couple of these bounce and goes. I wish I could have greased a few in better. You can grease these things, but it's just the vector of our wind today is just tough. It's really hard to get them exactly right. So I think you're gonna find that you can actually get them, especially if you're not running on a paved runway. If you're on grass, you're gonna have no problems landing this thing. It's relatively easy to land. Tricycle landing, it looks kind of cool, but honestly, it's probably better just put it on its mains, fly it to the ground, fly it onto the tarmac, cut throttle. Thrust reverse would help a lot also. That being said, those are three functions that we weren't crazy about. Just an adjustment thing, not a big deal. You can change it and get the benefits of that without changing the model at all. AS3X and Safe tend to work a little bit better on this particular model. We found that the reflex has been generally good in most cases, but there's also, you know, like a couple that we've noticed is maybe not quite as tightened up. Fortunately for us the other day, we had the Viper 15th anniversary, which was just glorious. So we were able to put AS3X and Safe in that because it was just a plug and play. This one's a plug and play with reflex. So if you're ordering it there, you know, just keep that in mind. I'm not saying that it's not gonna work. It will definitely work. And recommended, I would just get an AR 410. I would not go any higher. Get a 410, do it cheap with the reflex, or opposite that, get yourself a 631 or a 630. Either one would be fine. 630 is a couple bucks cheaper. You might go with that. And with those 6 channels, you should still be able to set up flaperons, which is really nice. If you set up flaperons, it's super easy. It literally is just like one wire cable, and you pull out the reflex, you put that thing in there, you set up your wing type, and you're golden, ready to rock and roll. And you even have modes, because you have throttle, aileron 1, aileron 2, rudder, elevator, and mode. So you're set. And then you have master gains and on-off settings for safe, AS3X, or off. So you've got your 5, 6 pluggable channels, and then those 2 settings. So I gotta say, I'm coming back to it on this one. I think this would be a great fit for that. It's gonna help resist that nose heavy performance that we're getting right now with the bigger packs. But also I feel like you could plop a 7000 in there and fly that thing all day long, but you'd have to take the tray out. And that's something we've done on smaller planes like the P-51 in the 1.1 meter size, and the P-51s that we've flown in the 1.2 if we really try to push the envelope with bigger batteries. But we generally get great performance on 2200 4S on those 1.2 P-51s. So anyway, hopefully that answers a lot of your questions. We really like the Pitts. It's a great plane. You'll enjoy it. It's not one of those planes you're gonna get and regret it. They are just a good plane. But one more drawback, and it's not necessarily a bad thing about the plane, it's just a bad thing about its size. They are big. So if you get that, I found the best way to hang it from the ceiling is for storage, and I just hook it from underneath that central wing connection point, and I hang it from a singular hook on the ceiling. It works really nice because it's a big plane. And fortunately, the tail sits just barely above the top wing. So in terms of wasted space, it does take up a lot of space, but it's, you know, in its same package size. So it's a 1.4, but it's a lot bigger than other 1.4s you may experience. So just keep that in mind. Also, it is a heavy plane, so just keep that in mind. It has great wing loading, it flies great, you can do slow passes and stuff like that. And yes, flaperons do help on this. They're a full-length flaperon. You don't have a bunch of weird, wonky behavior once you deploy flaps. And especially being that you're gonna be going to Safe and AS3X in that environment, I think you're gonna have a really good experience. So also, what we'll do is, in the playlist for this plane, we'll have the playlist choices for what we did before. So I gotta admit, it's been a while. I can't remember if we even set up AS3X in Safe. So I don't know, maybe it's one of these things where we'll do both on this one. But we really like this FMS model. You guys will too. Don't take those drawbacks as don't buys. I'm just saying those drawbacks are areas that you could actually improve by putting on some pneumatic tires, and that would fix the tire issue. You can change to the outside. Instead of being on the third hole out, you could go to the second hole, which means you're only one hole from the inside instead of one hole from the outside like we have right now. That'll help on the rudder and the elevator. And you're gonna have plenty to do stuff, I think. But if I'm wrong, just kick your expo way up. Don't lower your rates a lot, just get the expo up and that'll help. Or just fly on a smaller pack. So a couple of different ways to correspond or to correct for that sort of concern. And then of course the bigness you're never gonna change, and the reflex you're gonna have to change with some cash. So just keep that in consideration points. Also the Avian ESC paired up with the 630 or 631 would give you the capability of doing reverse thrust right now, which is pretty cool. So if you had reverse thrust, you could bring it in without flaperons and slow it down on the tarmac and you'd have no problems at all. So anyway, just a couple of ideas. Again, I don't want to beat up this plane because it is a great plane. I think you'll really like it. And what we do on Brian Phillips RC is we don't review planes to say fastest, bestest, biggest, whateverest. The planes are not ests in my book. I've had so many of them. We've reviewed so many of them and we love so many of them for different reasons. And don't ask me my favorite. I don't have a favorite. I have too many of them.
Somebody just asked the other day.
Yeah, everybody always says, oh, I don't know if anybody's ever asked us before. Yes, you have. So anyway, if you want to know my favorite between two, I will almost always give you an answer. Mm-hmm. But if you tell me what's your favorite of 400, that's like saying what's your favorite kid. You know, it's like, I mean, I only got 4 of those. So it's actually a lot easier to tell you that. Wait, that doesn't exist. I mean, so these are great planes. You'll like them. Check them out in the links below in the description. If you buy them from there, you'll help support us financially and you won't pay a penny extra. You can still use coupon codes and things like that that are available. And you can keep your RC bucks or whatever sort of coupons that you get from the websites that you work with. And so we really appreciate your patronage. World's best audience on YouTube, world's best camera crew. Thank you, camera crew. Mm-hmm. And obviously Megan, my wife of many years. And if you want to support us another way and you just can't buy this plane, but you're like, hey, you know, I really enjoyed the video. I like you talking me out of this for this reason, but I still want to give you some reward. Then we have PayPal and Patreon. We started Patreon about, 2 years ago, and it was just like, I still feel like it's a begging site. But anyway, it's there, and we appreciate you guys if you are Patreons. That's a monthly support for us, financial. And then there's PayPal, that's like a one-time thing. And then Super Thanks. Super Thanks are really easy, but the fee structure is super high. YouTube is just really expensive to do anything through. Just so you guys know, you know, if you were to give us like 20 bucks, I think we'll be lucky to get like 7 or 10 or something like that. Yeah. So it's kind of a joke. But the thing is, the ad revenue split's pretty fair because they run a very expensive, huge platform that helps us reach you. So, you know, that's different. But then Patreon, again, they're expensive too. I think they're keeping like upwards of 20%. It's painful, guys. So will you support us? We want you. I know the way I would think if I was trying to support somebody, I'd be like, here's 20 bucks. I expect them to get 20 bucks. Friends and family, that's what you are. That's the only way to really do that. But honestly, the better way and the best way is to just buy planes, because then everybody wins. And we don't just say that, you know, for some nefarious reasons. We want you guys to be flying. We don't want you to just be watching us fly, because really at the end of the day, it behooves all of us to be flying more. We want more pilots. We want more exposure that's positive. And we want people just doing it. It's an amazing experience. It's one of the funnest things you can do. It's one of the best pastimes and hobbies, in my opinion. It's not the cheapest. It's not the most expensive. You know, I've had more expensive hobbies. I can tell you that. I still have them. But the thing is, radio controlled aircraft compared to real aircraft, it's like free. I mean, this is like a rounding error, you know, from one fuel flight, you know? So if you guys are into it, don't wait any longer. You're not guaranteed tomorrow. You're not gonna live to be 300 years old, okay? If you're waiting until a convenient time to fly, just stop waiting, just do it now. It may be a little bit inconvenient. It's gonna be inconvenient later too. You know, if you're waiting until you're retired or your kids grow up or whatever it is, I get that with the motorcycle because you don't want to like end up creamed by a beer truck. It's always a beer truck on the side of the road because you love your kids and stuff. But the thing is, you're not going to get creamed by a radio controlled airplane unless you're really dumb.
And even then.
And even then, you're going to, you know, go to the hospital, get some stitches, and your pride will be crushed. But beyond that, you're going to be fine in most cases, like 99.999999991%. You can look that up on Google. So guys, at the end of the day, just don't waste your life. Get out there, get flying. If you haven't started, if you're aging and you're like, my eyes aren't good enough, then get something that's slow. If your eyes aren't good enough, go to the eye doctor for God's sake. You know, I had LASIK. I used to wear glasses. I couldn't see my alarm clock 4 inches from my face, and they're 2.5-inch digits. They're green. They glow bright. I couldn't see them. I'm not exaggerating.
Nope.
I don't have any correction on right now. I used to wear contacts. I was corrected. I wore glasses. I was corrected. If you're old and your fingers moved, use more Expo. If you're young and you don't think you have the skills, you don't have the money, you don't have the budget, watch our channel. We'll help you find some stuff that's cheaper. You'll eventually get here. Eventually you can go get a part-time job, flip some burgers, get an airplane. But just remember, guys, don't wait until tomorrow because you're not necessarily guaranteed tomorrow, but you are guaranteed what you got right in front of you. So if you like this plane, get it. If you like another plane, get that. Keep your family intact, pay for your homeowner's insurance, you know, buy your kids food. I mean, obviously all that stuff in consideration, but we want you guys to live a good life and a full life. And one of the ways you can do that is to embark on this amazing hobby. So check it out, guys. We appreciate you. And there's much more from Brian Phillips RC coming, so stay tuned. YouTube, it's Brian Phillips. Look at this. We've got the Pitts 1.4 again, this one with the reflex. Amazing. We're gonna fly it right now. This will be our third flight. The first one was terrible. It was dark. We were in a hurry. We didn't quite have things set up right, but now we have things set up right, and we're gonna do it for you as we speak. So we did make some adjustments to our rudder, to our elevator, so that we're in different holes, and that's gonna hopefully buy us a little bit better flight performance. We went to the next to inside hole. Okay, here we go. Oh man, that's gorgeous already. Big difference. But I may need to trim a little bit, so I'm prepared for that. Oh, the elevator's way more subdued. Tons of power. Inside out loop. As you can see, kind of a weird angle there. And we'll just do a little bit of that on the way down. And then we're gonna come out here. So camera crew, we've been trying to get this thing and the wind has been terrible, and finally we're gonna get the shots. Let's go about another 3 steps toward the runway. I just wanna get you a beautiful sunset view. Hey, you ready? Mm-hmm. Feel like there's just a little bit of tendency to roll. Got a little bit of trim. See if we can correct it there. Anytime you make a mechanical adjustment, which we did, you might end up with some residual adjustments, which is what we did. Absolutely gorgeous. A little bit of trim on the rudder. I'm gonna go up and over. Oh, so beautiful. And the wind is from our left to right. So I'm into the wind right now. Gorgeous silhouette. Okay. So now folks, oops, hit some turbulence there. Just kidding, guys. You good? Mm-hmm. Absolutely beautiful. One of our big brothers is up there. I don't know if you see him. Camera crew, back toward me. So I gotta say, the reflex is definitely helping with stabilization. The whole position is way better than what it was. So I'm loving the way it flies. Also, we scooched the battery. Whoa, that was really weird. All right, I want to see if that was a fluke or if it was some sort of an air current up there. Did you see that?
Mm-hmm.
That was weird.
Right over the tree, yeah.
I wonder if it's like turbulence right over the trees. We're gonna go like this. Oh yeah, we're kind of with the wind. We might have a little bit of weird turbulence right there. So we'll jank it here. We do have a voltage alarm, 6S 5000. That is awesome, guys. Beautiful tricks. And effortless, I might add. I am not a 3D pilot. And I just feel like this plane, it just makes me look good, and I'm not hardly trying. Oh, that is so cool. Flat spin. I want to do a little bit longer flat spin though. Let's see if we can get that. We'll go over here, over the top of the bowl, see if we can get some light, good lighting. Folks, FMS has a great plane here. If you haven't experienced this yet, just do it. Just pull the trigger, folks. Oh, that is so sweet. Into the throttle hard, get the plane flying. The weird thing is, it just seems like 1 minute remaining, but we'll probably be able to go for 6 or 7. Presentation passes in this plane are just glorious, folks. Right into the sun. Oh, that looks so dang good. Talk about a beautiful night, folks. Another beautiful knife edge, effortless, beautiful knife edge over the eagle killing zone. Let's knife edge the other way, see if it's... I do prefer to knife edge the other way because I just feel like it's easier with the wind conditions. But folks, this thing just makes you look good. It's one of these big planes. It's one of these big planes that you're just in awe of it the whole time you're flying. And then you do stuff like that and it just keeps flying like it didn't even happen. Camera crew, you're earning your pay today, huh?
Mm-hmm.
So folks, if you didn't know, the camera crew is my wife. She has a name, it's Megan.
And she doesn't get paid.
Oh, dang it. I was hoping people would believe that.
And he doesn't call me that in other places. Somebody asked that today.
What?
Somebody asked if you called me that.
That's so ridiculous.
In bed.
In bed?
Definitely does not.
Was it, what is it, like one of those Chinese food fortune cards things? Like.
Add it to the end of your fortune.
Yeah. I can tell you this, it'd be the end of it if I did.
That's what I was thinking. We just do it to annoy people at this point.
Yeah. Let's try prop hang.
That blue is killing me.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'll go to a different spot. I'll go down here, and then I'll double back.
Find some clouds.
Absolutely
I know,
gorgeous.
it's so pretty.
Sunset. So, folks, if you haven't experienced this plane, I got to tell you, second hole from the inside is crucial. Made a big difference.
Yeah. Just different than the manual.
That's pretty good prop hang for a non-3D pilot. Do you hear that air current?
Yeah.
That is crazy. Get it flying, get into the power, and fly it away. Fly it like you stole it. Folks, FMS, this thing is good. You will love it. Get one, okay? Check it out in the links. Buy from the links. You help support Brian Phillips RC. If we set up an introduction between you and your first love, which might be one of these planes, give us a shout out in the comments. Let us know your story. We appreciate you guys. We've got the world's best audience on YouTube right here at Brian Phillips RC. And we know you guys are rooting for us. We're kind of a small time gig here, but we love doing what we do and we'll do it as long as you guys keep coming back. And truthfully, we're making some big investments to really improve what we do. And we're trying to get better, and we're trying to improve a little bit at a time. So someday we can be like the sailors. Oh yeah! Sorry, that was just a hilarious joke. Nate, forgive me. You will, I know you will. It was all in good fun. But seriously though, guys, we love doing this stuff. I'm so lucky I have my camera crew that helps me. We really mold our lives around flying and RC. And most of you guys would kill to be able to do that. And to be honest, I think it might be easier to kill.
Probably.
Because it is a lot of work. And it's not like hard to fly a plane. That's the fun stuff. What you don't see is all the behind the scenes crap. And I'm not talking about editing videos. Everybody always thinks that. We don't even really edit our videos. We do occasionally, like if I accidentally say something wrong, like mention Nate. Whoops, sorry.
Nate,
it's all in good fun, I promise.
I just correct you.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Oh man, that thing just always going up there doing those cornballs. It's not cornballs.
Change the names.
Yo, I mean, it's a fake name in the first place. Excuse me, sir. That is not a cornhole. Oh, yes. So gorgeous. And we do try to keep the planes close enough so you can see them. If you're concerned about how close we get, don't worry, we're careful. We've only ran into each other a few times. And when I say each other, I mean me into Megan.
And that was my own fault.
Well, she's very dedicated.
I didn't move.
She's a dedicated
I could have.
pilot filmer.
It wasn't a very big plane.
You did get a bruise on your leg.
I did.
I was pretty annoyed with you for not getting out of the way on that one, though. It was a balsa wood plane. It was small. It was back in the days when we didn't know what we were doing, like yesterday. Wait, I'm sorry. That wasn't yesterday. It was actually a long time ago.
That was a long time ago.
It feels like it was just yesterday, and yet it totally was not yesterday. It was like 7 years ago. Holy crap, we're getting old.
Yeah.
We were old when we started this. Mm-hmm. We should just like,
it's not getting any better.
What was that YouTube channel we used to watch? Young couple builds house in mountains. And I was like, you're not young, you're like 40.
You're like our age.
You're like old farts like us. Uh-oh, just kidding. Oh yeah! Okay, camera crew, we're gonna try some shooting, some landings. So we're gonna come back over here. So folks, if you love the channel and you love what we do here, we appreciate you shouting us out in the comments. And then also, if you would, just let your friends know about the channel, the ones that don't fly, because they'll be especially likely to watch the 3-hour videos.
Yes.
We're about 5 steps toward the entrance to our home. Thank you. So if you guys love it, don't be surprised if people don't get it. Because the thing is, until you have experienced the love and joy of aviation, RC aviation, you will have a hard time explaining to people. But what happens is magical when you connect with the right plane in front of the right set of eyes, in front of the right childlike spirit. And you'll be amazed. Watching the light bulbs come on is so much fun. I just met somebody today. I've known him for years at one of my accounts. And the guy was like, oh, I just watched this about the carbon seat. Wow, that was a terrible landing. Who taught you to do that? Nobody. Okay. And anyway, he saw the Carbon Z T28. And he's like, that thing is awesome. And I said, yes, it is. And I think it's awesome. And I've got hundreds of planes in the basement. So anyway, I found out he was like into it. He was getting the bug. And I was like, was I responsible? And he said, yes, you were.
Somebody just commented.
Dang it. She's a bouncy one.
Somebody just commented today. He's like, I should have done this 40 years ago.
You should have. Seriously, beer truck.
But it's,
could hit you tomorrow.
But it's easier to do it now. So just do it now.
Hey, let's go to the middle of the driveway.
The middle?
Perfect, right there.
Sorry.
Sorry, guys. Yep, easier than ever. Slip, 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 slip. Woo-wee! See what happens when you put soft tires on? Just kidding, guys. They're not soft at all. They're rock hard. Okay, now we got our first hint of voltage alarm there. So what we're gonna do is we're just 7 minutes and 9 seconds over our 5, so 12 minutes. We're gonna see if we can take off with that limp flag behind us. And we're gonna see if we can do this with the beautiful sunset.
Now?
Yeah.
Okay.
She's dead. It's like a celebratory dead stick landing, guys.
Just
Slip, 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 slip. Focus. Slip, 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 slip. Airspeed, airspeed. Yes! Yes!
sorry for your speakers.
7 minutes 44 plus 5 is a lot of time, guys. So that's like 12 and a half minutes of real legitimate flight time on that 5000 6S. And you too can have that amazing experience right now. All you have to do is follow the link in the video description below and then watch our unbox build radio setup and then watch all 3 flights, all of them, and then 1,700 other videos.
Are we gonna do all 3?
Huh?
The first one was really terrible.
Oh no, we're not gonna show the first one. That was terrible.
Yeah.
It was like this time and beyond.
Yeah.
And
It
what
was
a beautiful
dark.
sunset though. Seriously. We love being here. It's beautiful. Spring is nice. It makes you remember like why you're here, because during the winter you're like, why are we here? But what a gorgeous plane, guys. Pitts 1.4 meter. Get one for yourself. Get them while they're hot. You will love it. It's a great plane. Does take a little bit of tweaking to get it flying like that. And when I say tweaking, I mean not spending a lot of money on a new ESC, not spending a lot of money on new metal gear servos. The servos in it are fine. If you decide to change them, fine, go for it. But I'm gonna tell you right now, that thing flies good out of the box, even with a plain Jane receiver. I would suggest an AR620, because then you can do the modes. Or if you know you're gonna keep it in stabilized or not stabilized mode, off or auto leveling, I would not do auto leveling without being able to turn it off. You'll get yourself in trouble, I promise. But if you don't need to do that, you can get a 410 and you can lock it with the rudder or elevator, unplug it from the channel, and it will memory keep. You can de-energize the circuit and it will keep the, whatever mode you're in. So if you set it to stabilized or if you set it to off, it will work and keep working each time you subsequently power cycle. So that's awesome. That means you can save the channel. You can do it on a 410, guys. Now, if you want to get real crazy and set this thing up for flaperons and all sorts of good stuff like that, we kind of did that on our first go round with this plane, which at the time, it was my first experience at the pits, I think. And I was like, I don't even know if I like this plane. Then I flew and I'm like, oh my goodness, what the heck was I smoking? That thing is awesome. And so I got it and I said, what other planes did I not know were awesome that are actually awesome that I should have known were awesome because I should have used deduction to figure out that they're awesome. And truthfully, as you mature in your experience of RC and you get a little better as a pilot, you open a little bit more capabilities here and there, it really helps you to have an appreciation for different planes. Now that is one. A couple years ago, I'd have been like, whatever, it's just a biplane. Now I'm like, wow, it's one of the best.
Yeah.
And we have 2 of them hanging in our basement.
And
I mean 1 and then 2.
And we have other sizes.
That's right. Yeah, we have the 850 millimeter, which is okay. And then the UMX, which honestly, the 850 is my least favorite of the 3 sizes, which is weird. It's like the middle size. This one's, in my opinion, better. And the UMX is better also than the 850. That'd be my 3rd one. But the 850 is fine. Why is the 850 bad? I'll tell you why. Because I added flaperons and it didn't need them. This one could really use flaperons. Or alternatively, you get yourself the AR620, you get yourself an Avian ESC and you throw some thrust reverse in that action and you're going to be golden. Because, I mean, you only need the smart ESC. I believe you can do that. If you want to go full-on AS3X safe, you can do flaperons on an AR620, 630 or 631. I'd probably go 631. It's kind of a big plane. You'll get far away from yourself. So I kind of like the external antenna idea. And there's a huge cavity inside of there. And we did have a solution for the batteries that like to pop off. We just stuck a Chinese screwdriver right in there and it just keeps it from sliding out. We haven't had it happen on this plane yet, but on my other one, my buddy was here flying with me and he warned me and I said, whatever, dude, I didn't have that problem. My battery tray didn't pop out. It popped out while I was putting it on the tarmac and I said, what the heck? So I took a screwdriver, put it in, boom, done. Didn't have to glue anything, no epoxy involved. And I think that idea, and you guys will hear this in the other flight, came from RC Marshall? Air Marshall, something like that. Anyway, I'm sorry. I'm probably saying it wrong. I think it's RC Marshall. But if that was your idea, thanks for the idea. It was a good idea. I just tweaked it a little bit. So didn't mean to steal your idea. I think there's lots of great ideas. And I think you also did a mix on the rudder.
Oh yeah, you did mention that.
I did not do that. So, I mean, I think it would probably help though. It was a 3% mix is what Mike was telling me. So anyway, speaking of Mike, we're gonna have some footage coming out at some point.
Meet Mike soon.
It's going to be exciting. Mike is a buddy that came up from another state with some things that are shaped like that. And they were really good and fun. But it was also super windy that day. But he came like from 3.5 hours away with a truck full of planes, and we flew them all. And I only crashed one. You'll be so proud of me.
Yeah.
And you know what? He had it fixed that week.
Yeah.
This guy builds kits in a week. And they look pristine, like
amazing
E-Flight models and FMS models. So really cool. Anyway, we'll expose you to that soon. Hopefully you enjoy it. But either way, we just want to give you guys a little tiny taste of what we do when we're not flying brand new stuff, because we don't do a lot of that as much as we used to. And we do love that. It's just we're busy flying new stuff, which is a great problem to have, by the way. And we love it. So hopefully you guys do too. And you'll support us by buying these things from links in the video description below. It's the best way you can support us financially. If you stop doing that, it will hurt us because that is pretty much how we make money on this. Everything else that comes in, ad revenue is like, I don't want to say it's nothing because it's not nothing, but it's fleeting. And it comes and goes with the wind. It's like, YouTube farts and you lose money. So I don't know. You don't control it really. But with this, we do get to control that a little bit. So if you guys watch the video, you enjoy it, or you enjoy us and you just want to support us, we got links to these things. And if you don't know about it, we have brianphillipsrc.com, which is our domain. Camera Crew does most of the work on that, like 99.99999% of the work. And I say, hey, you screwed this up.
Yep, pretty much.
Which is what I'm best at. So that's why she's so nice to me.
Pretty much.
But anyway, we have that. And then also we have the links. If you notice, they're BP, RC, me. That they're real.
Changing over.
Those are just so that we can have direction, quality, and it's just better because we have so many videos. We were spending like literally months updating links when our vendors would change different affiliate companies and stuff. It was terrible. So anyway, that is a little bit inside baseball. For those of you that stayed this long in the video, you probably enjoy Brian Phillips RC, or you have this on loop and you can't get out of the room you're locked in to change it.
We're sorry.
If you're using this mad scientist to torture people that don't like RC aircrafts, like all the wives that have, stopped their husbands from buying these things, that is a really awesome idea. Just play my videos on loop 24/7. So anyway, now that we've gotten insulted even more people, we need to add that to the list. Check.
Yes.
So this plane is awesome. You guys will really love it. It's fun. It goes together really easy. But just remember, when you're looking at the manual, they don't really, I think they said to go in one hole from the outside. I would go in 2 holes from the outside.
Yes.
And I felt like we had tons. I mean, you saw me doing prop hangs and all that stuff. I had plenty of elevator authority left. It was golden. So go to the second hole from the inside. And the other one's already put on for you. You don't have to do, the linkages that are on the wings already have the balls installed.
Yes.
Because they are ball links.
We just had to put the links.
Yeah, we just have to put the linkage into the hook point on the servo.
You have to put it in the right hole.
The control arm. Well, I mean, it's up for discussion. Discuss it.
Apparently it was.
Well, I mean, we started with one hole and it wasn't good enough. So then we stuck it in the other hole and it was great.
Mm-hmm. Don't put it in the right hole first.
So all I'm going to say is also 12 minutes of flight time on one battery is pretty amazing for a non-internal combustion engine size of this size class. That's a 1400 millimeter. And by the way, keep in mind, it's big. Okay. Hard tires, rock hard. The pants are only so wide on there. So if you end up taking those open and putting on like pneumatic tires, you may need to be careful to trim a little extra out. If you do like a Debro low bounce 2-inch or so, that'd be great. It would help a lot. Also, we did an experiment with some low bounce tires for the Carbon ZT28, and we have video footage that's coming soon. I don't know when it's going to release, but they looked like almost exactly the same hardness, but they made a big difference. So something like that might actually fit this airplane good. So anyway, follow the links, buy the plane. We'll link to the receiver that we recommend because this was an old one that we had lying around. We're out of 820s right now, and we didn't have any 410s. Yes. So yeah, so basically at this point, we used whatever we had lying around, and we did try to use a serial satellite. We couldn't get it working. I don't know if we did it wrong, and if we did, we apologize. If you know what we're doing wrong, you won't, because we didn't show our struggles.
Nope,
it was like an hour of video. It was very frustrating. So we don't often cut out stuff like that because the frustrating stuff that we end up with success, we try to show that. But when it's like super frustrating and we don't find success, we don't want to waste your time.
Yeah.
Which I know sounds like counterintuitive because you're watching this video. All right, guys, that's all you get. So much more from Brian Phillips RC. Don't forget to smash the like button. Click the bell for notifications. We want you here. Subscribe. Come back for more. We have tons. We promise. We hope you loved it. Thanks for watching.